He was 28 years old, had no official job title, and no real financial track record. And somehow he got his hands on a $1 billion government fund and stole $4.5 billion of it. In 2009, Malaysia's new Prime Minister, Najib Razak, launched 1MDB, a sovereign wealth fund built to do one thing: develop the country. Fund infrastructure, alleviate poverty, build a better Malaysia. Najib had sole authority over its investments, and standing next to him, with no formal role at all, was a young financier named Joe Low. Low didn't have a seat on the board. He didn't have a job description. What he had was access, political connections in Malaysia, royal connections in the Middle East, and an uncanny ability to make powerful people trust him with money. The first move came in 2009. Najib and Low met with Petro-Saudi international representatives on a yacht in Monaco. Soon after, Najib signed a $2.5 billion joint venture between 1MDB and Petro-Saudi. U.S. investigators later said this deal was a pretense, a way to funnel $1 billion straight into a Swiss bank account controlled by Low's network. That was just the beginning. Two former Goldman Sachs bankers, Tim Leissner and Roger Ng, helped 1MDB raise billions more through bond sales, $6 billion across 3 separate offerings. Goldman collected roughly $600 million in fees. But prosecutors later revealed something darker. Hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes were allegedly paid to Malaysian and Abu Dhabi officials just to make these deals happen. By the time investigators finished tracing the money, the total came to more than $4.5 billion, stolen over 6 years, 2009 to 2015. So where did it go? Low spent it like he was trying to set a record: a $250 million super yacht, luxury real estate in New York, Beverly Hills, and London, paintings by Monet and Van Gogh. He threw celebrity-studded parties. One featured Britney Spears popping out of a cake at his 31st birthday. He bought Kim Kardashian a $325,000 white Ferrari as a wedding gift. And then there's the detail that turns this from a financial crime story into something almost surreal. Low used stolen development funds to help finance a movie about financial fraud. He co-founded Red Granite Pictures, which helped produce The Wolf of Wall Street, the Martin Scorsese film starring Leonardo DiCaprio about a con man who steals from investors to fund a life of excess. Joe Low was thanked personally in the film's closing credits. DiCaprio thanked him again at the Golden Globes. A man was allegedly laundering stolen government money through a movie about laundering stolen money, and nobody involved seemed to notice or care until it was too late. Money from the same schemes also allegedly ended up in the personal bank account of Prime Minister Najib Razak himself, around $700 million, according to a 2015 document leak that first cracked the case wide open. That leak came from journalist Claire Rucastle-Brown, who published documents showing exactly where the money had gone. Once the story broke, it didn't just embarrass a country, it toppled a government. Public trust collapsed. Protests erupted across Malaysia. And in 2018, Najib Razak lost re-election for the first time in his party's history. He was later convicted on 7 counts of corruption, money laundering, and abuse of power, and sentenced to 12 years in prison, later reduced. Joe Low never faced a courtroom. In 2016, Interpol issued a warrant for his arrest. He vanished, reportedly first to Taiwan, then through a network of purchased citizenships in the Caribbean and Cyprus. In 2019, he struck a deal with the U.S. government, a $700 million settlement covering assets in the U.S., UK, and Switzerland, the largest civil forfeiture in Department of Justice history. But that settlement didn't resolve the underlying criminal charges against him. He's still out there. Reports place him hiding in China, reportedly living under a fake identity, allegedly working as a behind-the-scenes advisor for sanctioned companies trying to navigate international pressure. The man accused of masterminding the largest financial heist in modern history has never spent a single day in prison for it. Banks paid the price, though. Regulators in Singapore fined Credit Suisse and other banks tied to the money flow. Goldman Sachs alone eventually paid billions in settlements and fines connected to its role underwriting the fraudulent bonds. JP Morgan agreed to pay $330 million just this year to settle related claims. And the fund itself? 1MDB left Malaysia holding outstanding debts of nearly $8 billion, money the government has had to absorb, including 30-year bonds that won't mature until 2039. Malaysian taxpayers will be paying for this fraud for another decade. A fund built to lift a country out of poverty instead became the vehicle for one of the largest thefts in financial history. And the man responsible is still free, still hiding, and still, by some accounts, working the system from the shadows. That's the story of 1MDB.